What's up everybody? In this tutorial series we're gonna be learning Python web framework Flask, which is really easy Python micro framework that we use developing backends for websites or web applications. And throughout this course I'm gonna be teaching you everything you need to know about Flask. Guys, do you know how can we take tokens without any string or int type of routes? Buckle up. At the end of this video I'm gonna be showing you how to take only token type of strings without any int float passes. You don't know what it is, I'm gonna be explaining it at the end of this video. I promise, watch this video till the end, you get most benefits than others. Firstly, let's install Flask for a computer or PC. To do that, you guys already know we use pip. Let's type in pip install Flask and hit enter. It automatically downloads Flask into your machine and it installs that. And let's wait for a second. I think Flask is already installed in my machine, so I don't have to install it, but anyways. As you can see, it says requirement already satisfied, which means it is already been installed. I don't need to install it. So let's clear that out and we can actually start working on our Flask applications. Now we have installed Flask, we can start working on our project. So let's get started. First we need to import Flask. From Flask, import Flask, which is a class that makes our Flask application instance. Let's make an app. This is a name that I gave. You can just call it whatever you like. For example, your name, and that equals Flask instance. Flask name. So this just creates our app, but we don't run it yet. So in order to run it, we use if statement. If name equals to main, you can run this program. App.run. There are many ways to run this application, but I'm gonna be showing 2 or 3 ways. Firstly, you can run this app, but it won't run in debug mode. To run it in debug mode, you put debug equals to true. But you can leave it blank, but if you want to run it in debug mode, which is really useful in development, you can put it like this and you can run it. And if you make any changes to this file, it can automatically refresh. And then let's make a route so that we can actually see what we are doing. App.route. By the way, a route is something that you enter after the URL of the website. For example, you might have example.com and after that you put slash, and that page returns you something, and define a function that returns not GNOME, home or index, and then it returns us something like this is home page. This is just the route that returns us home page. Let's run that. To run that, you can press Ctrl or Command J and you say python main.py and it runs. You can see we have a link here if you're seeing it, and let's click Ctrl. If you click Ctrl and click, it opens that in your browser and it says this is home page. This slash we put here is the same thing that we put here. But if you want to make another route, for example, about page, you need to define that here, for example, but in another function. Let's create another route here down below and we call it about. But you don't have to have 2 functions in the same name. Let's change that to about. You can make it any name you want, but I'm calling it about, and this is about page. And let's run that. And firstly, let's refresh it. and then we can type /about, and it, what happened? About, what's going on? As you can see, it returns this page that we made here. But sometimes we need, for example, if you want to make a gallery, let's say gallery, and you want to show a specific page or another sub pass. For example, you might type travel, and it only shows travel images or videos. Or sometimes you can make school, and it only shows school pictures. But how do we do that? Shall we have to create each individual route individually, or is there a way we can do that easily? Yes, there's a way. Let's make another route and call this gallery, and we put a slash, and really important here, you open and close the tag. In between you take the name, for example, and let's change this function to name, and let's show that word only, name. Let's run the server again because we made a mistake. And for example, if I enter this URL, it just, oh sorry, we're getting that name but not passing to the function. Let's pass it to the function. You can, let's call this not name, gallery function, and take it here and return it here. Let's run that. It returns school. Let's enter travel. It returns travel. You can get any string here. Sometimes we need to get int or some kind of float type number, or sometimes we need to get tokens. How do we do that? Well, you can do that. Look at this template text. You can define it this way. If you want to get a string, you use string word. If you want to get int, you can use int. And if you want to get float type number, you can use float. And essentially and importantly, if you want to get a pass after that slash, you can use password. I'm going to be explaining that later. And if you want to get some kind of token or universally unique ID, you can use UUID word. Let's take this UUID word and put it here and make a colon and name. It just defines the type of the name variable. And let's run that. It's running already. And if we refresh, not found, because we are entering the string, but it only takes arguments. For example, this kind of arguments, UUID arguments. Let's enter that, and if we hit enter, it gives of course an error because the view function didn't return the valid response. Return type must be a string, link, tuple, response instant, or anything else. To make this string that we entered here, we just use simple Python function str, sorry, and let's refresh that, and we can see that just returns us this token. So that's it, guys. That's the thing I have promised at the beginning of this video. That's a cool thing about Flask. So you can easily set up a development or production server, and you can create routes and control them. This is the basic scaffolding of our app. In the next tutorials, I'm gonna be showing really cool stuff about Flask. If you're liking this video, please show your respect by liking this video and subscribing to my channel. and hit that notification bell so you won't miss anything. See you guys in the next videos.